I repeat it well. About the LinkedIn profile or link to my LinkedIn profile. Is it appropriate to put this link in my resume? First question. The second question is it what are the ways to put it? So in text format, just as a link, HTTPS, and so on and so forth. Or it can be done by QR code. I am not sure that is appropriate because I know that a lot of companies have some automatic systems for analyzing the resumes. And I assume that these systems can see this QR code as a photo and refuse this resume because of this. What would you advise? This question. Thank you.
Yes, good, very good question. I would definitely advise that it is a good idea to include it because, as you said, it's one aspect of your, let's say, presentation of yourself, and it's like your online business card. And so, definitely put it. In terms of which format, I would say the URL would probably be the safest bet. I haven't yet seen the QR code in my experience. I think the QR code, if we're looking at ATS systems, may be less likely to get picked up on. So I would just go with a URL, and even depending on the format of the application, right, you could hyperlink it with just like LinkedIn profile and then a hyperlink, or the full URL. And I think that the topic that we covered last week in terms of creating like a nice clean URL, this would make sense then why you would want that for the resume. So it's not very long with many numbers. It's just your name. I think that looks professional on the resume.
And it is better to do it in contact information.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So on the top part, you're going to have your full name, your email. It can go in that same section where you have your email and city and then LinkedIn.
It's clear. Thank you very much for your answer.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. All right. Maybe we're a small group today. I feel that it's probably time to begin. Let me go ahead and share. All right, so today we are talking about how to use the platform of LinkedIn in order to prepare for your interview. Again, it's only one small aspect. Of course, the website of the company, the job description, those are all really great resources to also help you prepare and to feel confident when you get to that stage. But I would say because people put so much information on their LinkedIn, it would be a disadvantage if you didn't check out the company page as well as the profile of the person interviewing you, whether that's a recruiter or HR professional. Most people in, let's say, medium-sized to large companies will have a presence online, and it's to your advantage to know as much as possible before the interview, just so you can, present yourself in the best way, feel confident, and also show the interviewer that you took the time to do the research. So we're going to talk in detail about what that looks like. So as I said before, the reason you might want to do this is showcasing your level of engagement, your commitment to not just the position, but also the company, right? You want to give the impression that you are informed and excited about this kind of company, that you are really interested in what are they doing, what are their clients, what are their products. You want to be part of something, let's say, bigger. and not, of course, you're interested in the position, but to show that you're not only interested in just the position. And then in terms of looking at a company's page on LinkedIn, we can find out about their mission, we can find out about their values. They have quite a lot of information often about how many employees they have, like who are the employees, what kind of job titles do they have, what is their location. All of that is not something you can ever find usually on the website. So the company LinkedIn page does even have additional information that we used to not even be able to see. And then the last point, I think is the most interesting, is to know what is their current strategy. Is there any current, let's say, news or approach that they're taking? Because this could be a great topic in the interview to ask a question. So just taking Upwardly Global as an example, I can say, I saw on the Upwardly Global page that you now have a program also in Poland. Can you tell me more about that program? I'm really curious to learn more about that. So that's showing your interest. Again, it's showing that you really would like to be informed about this company. So of course, in order to do that, it's very simple. Just go to the company page and press follow. Here we have an example of our employment partner, JP Morgan Chase. And you can see those tabs, right? We have the home, about section, we have posts, we have jobs, people, and insights. So my recommendation would be to spend at least, let's say 20 minutes on a company page in order to click through each section and understand what is being presented there. Galina, do you have a question?
Yes, sorry, I'm late, but I have a question about following. Maybe can a recruiter or HR or on this page check you following on this page or no? Can you? Yes, and it's important for your on your interview. This is information. Yes, this is important.
Very good question. So whether you follow a company is visible to the HR recruiter, and they do look at it favorably if you have been following them. So definitely any company you have an interview, as soon as really you even know about them and do the application, I would recommend to immediately go to their LinkedIn to follow them. And it just reflects an interest in the company. Does that answer your question? Okay. Was that did I answer your question fully? All right. So that is a good thing to note. Like any company you're interested, go ahead and follow them. Don't hesitate. It can be a positive thing later on in the recruitment process. Also, you want to scroll through their page to learn about their background and history. Of course, you don't need to know all the very detailed information, just a general outline. I would even, take some notes on this. What is specific about the products and services? Always thinking in the back of your head, how can you tie this into your experience, what you are bringing to the company, and also how can you tie this information into the follow-up interview question. Maybe there's a certain product that you find really useful, right? And maybe you want to share that with them and say, oh, like I myself use this and it's or I have used something similar, so you're trying to create as many bridges back to yourself as possible. And then one thing, let's say, especially if you're in the finance field or HR, like understanding any earnings reports, if they are public, is, that's going one extra level up. But if anything, even online, if you do a simple Google search, is also helpful to learn as much as possible about the company and to really just, yeah, as I said before, really be 100% prepared. Another plus about following the company on LinkedIn in terms of preparedness for interviews is that you are going to see the section, and I'm going to go back for a moment. Here you have people, right? So once you click on people, it will go to a list of people that you may know. This is the algorithm building a list of second and third degree connections. So for example, Kristen is a connection of my connection, Aditi. It doesn't mean we are connected, but we have that second degree. So let's say, hypothetically, Kristen is going to interview me. I would want definitely to connect. And I would say, oh, wow, I see Aditi is a mutual connection. I worked with Aditi at Upwardly Global. And I know that this might also not happen for you because maybe you're still growing your network. And that's another good reason why increasing your connections to at minimum 500 will help you in these kinds of things. The more people that you know in your network, the more connections there could be. Let's say in terms of someone interviewing you and having a common connection, which is always good. It's one of those things just psychologically, like if Kristen knows someone who knows me, she's going to have a different feeling interviewing me, right? So this is one way to maybe not connect to the interviewer because probably you will have to search directly for their name, but understanding, right, who are the connections possibly at this company that you're interested in. Maybe you even want to reach out to them for an informational interview to get more insight. Like in my search right here, Kevin, it looks like, I don't know why I know Kevin, who's the connection, but I could message Kevin and say, I'm really interested in learning more about JP Morgan Chase. I would like to apply for this in this position. Would you be willing to spend 10 minutes with me, just sharing your experience? This is super valuable. And the worst thing that can happen if you ask for this is no reply. And the best thing that can happen is you have a great conversation, someone gives you valuable information and insight, and you walk away even more prepared for this application or for this interview. And one thing to note about that search is that you can, and I would recommend, to put the keywords that will give you the best output. So for example, I'm at JP Morgan Chase. If I'm in the application process or I want to apply, I would like to see the recruiters in Poland, because recruiters, of course, in America don't help me if I'm applying for positions in Poland. So that's something to refine your search. Put the location. You can even put the exact city, and you can put the title of the person you would like to find. You can put recruiter, you can put HR. There's several different titles that might produce results. And then once those people, pop up, you would want to click on their profile and understand who they are and if they would be a good connection to have for you or a good person to reach out. You can also search just in the top bar for the specific name of the person. Oftentimes you will have the full name of the person and you will have the company, of course. And so you just want to search for them in order to inform yourself about who they are and what their experience is like. And why would you want to do this? What is the benefit of researching a person? Because you might feel a little weird about it, right? Like, why? I don't want to be like creepy, or I don't want to make it uncomfortable, but really it's a normal thing to do. And it helps you understand this person more, because there's so many unknowns in the interview process. It's stressful because there are many unknowns. You don't know how it will go. You don't know the personality of the person. But if you can create a picture for yourself based on the information online, I do think that this helps. And it can help build sort of the relationship between you and the person when you have found some common ground. Maybe they also studied Spanish and you studied Spanish. Maybe they have lived in the same city as you, right? So this is building a bridge again between you and the person, and you can mention it during the small talk in the beginning or even throughout the interview. You can tie that connection in. So of course, it is also a simple process to research them. You just go on their page and read through each important section, I would take a few notes on what is relevant information that you're finding. It's also nice that you can see the mutual groups that you're a part of, right? That can be a sign, okay, this person is interested in similar topics as me. You can see the common connections. So that also might be helpful to see, oh, okay, this person is also connected to, let's say, my friend who I know. And right, in addition to that, just really understanding their professional background, understanding who they are and what their skills are. Yes.
It's important to know, do I need to connect with a recruiter following, or I need to do it before my interview if I have invite for interview? I need to connect with only connect. I don't know. Add to my network this person. I need to do it.
You don't need to, no. You oftentimes, I think what's more common is to connect right after. So let's say you did the research, you know about their profile, but you didn't connect before the interview. Then after the interview, in addition to your thank you that you send over email, you can also send the invitation to connect. And you may want to include this in your email and say, I look forward to staying connected on LinkedIn. It was great meeting you. But it's not a requirement to connect before. And I don't know why, but for me, it almost seems more professional to connect after because it's a way to stay in touch.
Thank you. After interview, it's more okay. Thank you.
Yes, that's what I would do. I think in my experience, it's going to be common that maybe they look at your profile. So each of you is checking each other out, so to say, before to learn. And then the formal connection often, I think, happens once you have had the first meeting. Yeah, good. That's a great question. And I do want to say a word about the privacy settings, just because this might make you feel more free in doing it. You have 3 options on the privacy settings, and I can go into my LinkedIn also to show you, but it will be in the settings section under visibility. So the I. Once you click on there, you're going to have the 3 options, like you can show your name and headline, your private profile characteristics, or private mode. So those are basically, the first one is the most information. It's your full name and what is, your summary on the headline. The second option is a little bit less information. It's only, I believe, where you are located and which industry you are in. And private mode is my personal favorite because it's just invisible, right? There's no information that is shared with that person. You can look at their profile as many times as you want, and they will never know who you are. And this is what it looks like. If I click on the privacy settings, I can see this is going to be If I choose the open setting, this is going to be what someone sees. If I choose private profile characteristics, they will just see someone at Upwardly Global. Now, if you don't have a position right now, I'm not sure what this information is. I think maybe it's your location, but I'm not sure because it's just indicating the company that I work for, but it's not saying who it is. And then completely private, like I said, it's 100% incognito, which is the setting that I have on my profile right now. Any questions about the privacy settings? Is it helpful for me to show on my LinkedIn, or is it clear?
It's all clear, thank you.
Okay. So quick note back to researching the person. I think that if you really want to understand someone's motivation, and even to the extent like what may they find interesting to you, because we are simple in some, humans are simple in some ways, right? If they can find something that is relatable between themselves and you, they're also maybe more likely to have a positive, let's say, interaction or feeling towards you. So we want to look at their experience. We want to look at even the recommendations. If they do have a recommendation that they have received or given, this gives information about what kind of manager or what kind of recruiter they are. We want to understand not just what the skills are, but what do their skills reflect. Even the order of the skills can tell you a lot, because we put the most important skills usually at the top. And then another interesting thing to look at is what are the companies that they follow, and who are the people that they follow, and who are the groups that they follow. So it's, again, just trying to find the common ground, and to understand what their professional interests are. And then, of course, any recent activity. That means, what did they create any articles? Did they write any posts? What is the information that they are sharing? This can also tell us something about them. And it might even be like a compliment that you can pay to them. Let's say they recently wrote a post or an article, and you looked at it and you found it to be interesting or engaging. You could mention that in the interview. Oh, I did see the article that you posted. I thought that was really interesting. So bringing it, always understanding like what are you seeing on the profile, and how can that translate back into the interview. A couple reminders that you definitely always want to have before the interview. And I know this is simple, but I sometimes even have to just write this information down like on a Post-it and keep it like near my camera, because it's easy to forget when you're nervous. So what is the person's full name, and what is their correct current job title? You could even have their LinkedIn profile up if you want, but those two pieces of information, they're simple, but they're very important to get right. Make sure you have even just one or two bullet points of shared history or interests. Can be something very simple, doesn't have to be anything complex. And then lastly, an idea, and if in the best case, even very specific questions. How will you tie the information about them that you learned into your questions and interaction during the interview? How, of course, the actual interview will always be different than how you imagine, but maybe you can at least have a strategy going in. And then you will see how it flows, and you will see the personality of the person, but it's nice to at least have an idea going in. Okay, I was going really quickly today, but I also didn't want to overload you with too much information. Any questions? I mean, we have time for a very robust discussion, or you can just take the extra time to follow your companies. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
There are no questions, Lorena. All clear? Thank you.
All right. Very good. And the worksheet is just a guide. You know, you can create your own list as you please, but you know, I would say having a goal of definitely following a list of companies that you are interested in. Even doing the company research, you can do it before the interview. This research will help you in writing a strong application. It will help you in even maybe updating your LinkedIn to make yourself more attractive to this company. So, you know, don't feel like you need to wait for the interview to do the research. It's never too early to start researching, especially a company that you're very excited about or very interested in. And same thing goes for reaching out to recruiters. You know, they're very busy and oftentimes they might not respond, but you will be in a better position if you know, okay, I want to land a job at JP Morgan. These are the top 5 recruiters in my job title or let's say sector that are actively recruiting, and knowing who they are, you know, having already reached out to them. Let's say even they didn't respond, your name will still be more familiar than if you didn't reach out. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. Make sure that, yeah, you, I guess, just feel free to also reach out to me otherwise. Oh, yes, Galina.
I have
Hi.
a small, maybe I don't understand, it's clearer. How I can search some person who hiring, who recruiting, because maybe it's not understanding for me. I find function when I can check the first 2 seconds, but it's about my network and who from my network know this person. But maybe I can find a recruiter without this connection. I don't understand. Please tell me about it. And yes, I did some information about company before interview, but sometimes only positive information. Maybe you know about how I can find all information, and positive and negative. Sometimes people write different information about company, but I can't find. Maybe I don't know how it's do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So when we do the search, the reason I brought up the ones, the people will pop up, that, and it says people you may know, right? And it's not necessary that you only connect with those people, but it's a separate section of people that you have some overlap connections with. So of course it, you know, let's say maybe not so much for recruiters, but let's say for people that you want to reach out to for informational interview, this is a better option to reach out to this person because you have a mutual connection, and maybe the person who is the connection can write to them, can make an introduction and say, you know, oh, my friend Maxim would love to speak with you. Would you be open to doing that? In terms of just finding the recruiter related to the company, I would recommend to put in the search mainly just your location and keyword for your industry. Maybe you will not find that exact term for the recruiter for this, but just try some different options. And if any of those don't work, just I would focus on recruiter plus location. And sometimes even another recruiter can give you information or contact information to a more specific recruiter and say, oh, you know, I found your profile. I'm really interested in this kind of position. Are you the right contact person, or do you have any better connection for me? And then, I'm sorry, your second question was,
where I can find information not only positive about different country or company when I prepare to interview.
yeah, I know what you mean. I think though that it is important to stay positive. Of course, for your own knowledge, it's good to know all the sides. I personally have only found information about the work conditions on a website called Glassdoor. I'm not sure if Poland has a similar one, but I can just put it in the chat. Let's see if Glassdoor exists in Poland. Glassdoor, Poland. No, Glassdoor. Basically, Glassdoor gives the ability, and I want to say that this might exist in a different form, but Glassdoor gives people the opportunity to explain what it's like to work at a company. So they can give a certain rating and say, I like the company culture, but the work hours were very long. And so before, I have an interview, I will always look for the company on Glassdoor. And I don't think it exists in Poland, but I will ask my colleagues if there's something similar to Glassdoor, because it is a very useful thing to know, right? How do people find this place to work? What has their, let's say, complaints or challenges, or maybe they say everything's great and I love it. But it is nice to know that before you accept a position. Oh, thank you, Maxim. And this one also exists in Poland. Yeah.
The second one is for Poland. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can look on the top, it says community jobs and companies. So I would look at the companies tab, and just as an example, right? If I type in Upwardly Global, there's going to be reviews of Upwardly Global from many different people who have worked there, and there will be a rating. And so that is just one idea. But in general, definitely don't ever mention any critique of the company when you're interviewing. Only mention the things that you like, the positive things. You can create a diplomatic question if you have a concern, but to make it very indirect. So let's say on Glassdoor, I read about a company and many people said that the work culture is stressful and they always have a lot of work and it's fast paced and it's a lot of stress. So if you read this and you're concerned, maybe you can pose a question like, what is the work-life balance in this company like? And you can say it more general, or you can say, how has your experience been with the stress load or the workload? How do you manage it? Do you feel it's manageable? Do you feel that it's difficult, right? So you can put a concern into a question in a way that's not attacking the company and saying, oh, I read that your company is very stressful, and what do you think about this? So just just phrasing your question in the right ways, I think means a lot, or can change the tone of the conversation.
I have one small question about your experience. What to think about it? How many people do I need to have in my in my network? And it's crucial or not? What recruiter can yes, can you see, many people can see my post about, yes, but what about recruiter? think that it's information, I don't know, it's a plus for my CV if I have many people in my network, or maybe what do you think about it, and how many people I need to have?
Yes, good question. So I'm going to go backwards from the second question. First is that it shouldn't be considered in terms of the success of your application. I don't think any recruiter will say, "Oh, I'm going to go with a candidate with 1,000 connections versus the one with 200." I don't think that that's something that they weigh, because it's about your qualifications. But I will say, for your own successful use of LinkedIn, the key number that you will see over and over again, and that LinkedIn recommends, is 500 minimum. And the reason for 500 is, as I mentioned before, when you have more mutual connections, it shows you more information. And the more information that you see, theoretically, the more openings that you might encounter, the more sort of, if you think about what is the purpose of social networking, right? It's in order to make connections with people in your general, let's say, virtual area, so that you can learn things about them. And in the case of LinkedIn, it's all about the job search. So if you have 500 connections versus 100, you might see more job openings. You might see more secondary or third degree connections that you can use to do your outreach.
Thank you.
No problem. And above 500, then it's just added bonus, and it kind of might just continue slowly, but that's the minimum that they do recommend. Excuse me. Anyone else have a question? Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining this evening. I hope that you were able to learn something new, and I will be seeing hopefully all of you next week. And if you have any questions that come up for you in the meantime, feel free to reach out to me. I owe you, Galina, a skill endorsement. I'm happy to endorse anybody's skill. Just send me a quick message and I will happily do that. And yeah, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you very much, Lena,
Thanks
for
a
this
lot.
session.
Bye.
I wish you to get well. See you
Thank
next
you. I
week.
know. I feel like I'm getting better, but sometimes it's a slow process. So thank you so much.
See you next week.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.